Hello guys, today we have special guest Darina from Artificial Core. Right now she's working as a texture artist, but she started her journey as 3D artist and actually 3D character artist. We will break down this work specifically. Darina is a professional 3D artist and also teacher in our school who created this work for our full 3D art program. Yeah, I think we can open some of the ZBrush or Substance files and go over the process because many people asked. To be honest, one of the best works that I saw in this specific style.
Thank you very much for your nice words. Okay, let's start. Let's start from what? The first thing that I did when I was sculpting Vi, of course, I started with body. Let me show you. By the way, unfortunately, I don't have the high poly model anymore. I only have the low poly model, but I think that I can do pretty fine with low poly only to explain you my pipeline, my process of this work. As you can see, unfortunately, I don't have the whole body because I optimized my 3D model when there is something underneath, for example, underneath the clothes, and we don't see her body underneath the clothes, then we can just cut it out. Of course, not for a game model. For example, if your character will, I don't know, put off the jacket, for example, then you need to have those hands underneath the jacket. But it depends. Of course, it depends. In my case, I just sculpted Vi, knowing that this model, I will use it only for renders, only to have just like pictures of my model. So I did not need this body underneath my clothes. But of course, when I started sculpting this body, I googled many different pictures of anatomy. And if you are scared that you don't know anatomy at all, don't be scared. I don't know it either. Even right now, I can say that I'm not such a pro, I'm not such an expert in anatomy, but it'll be pretty enough for you just to Google something. I know, let me just even Google it right now. Let's add something like stylized. Here we go. I think this is the perfect example, by the way, where we can see all the muscles. This is very easy for the beginners. This one is very nice. And all you have to do, you just have to copy everything that you see. And I can assure you, you will have a pretty nice result. The main skill that you have to have here is the skill of copying everything. So don't be afraid that you don't know by heart all of the muscles, or that you don't know what this exact part is or what that is. Just copy.
Can I ask how long did it take for you to learn, for example, anatomy at this level that you have right now? In my opinion, your result is pretty good, and the final result as well, as you saw, guys. But how long, for example, for some beginner will take to kind of copy all of the anatomy and proportions?
Okay, so let's see here. I have we don't count this model because here I did not even copy anything. This was my very first human-like model. I don't count it. Let's count from this model. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's say that it took me 6 models. I repeated the anatomy 6 times. And after all of these models, after that time, I finally started to feel a bit more confident in anatomy. But of course, still I need references. Okay, let's now talk about the clothes. Okay, for example, let's start from the windings on her arm. How I did them, let me show you just very quickly. So let's imagine that this thing is like an arm. Now let's just draw. You can use this tool, mask pen, but sometimes it is easier to use mask lasso. To clear the mask, I just press Control and draw something on this free area, and just a stripe like here, a stripe like here. Go to Subtool, extract, decrease the thickness even more. Now I press extract. Extract and then accept. And now I have a separate subtool here. Let's go back to our so-called arm, and if we isolate by this button, if we isolate our subtool, we see that we still have this mask on our subtool. We don't need it anymore. So we press Control, and again, we clear this mask. Okay, and now we have a new subtool. Let's clear this mask to Control and yeah, now it's clear. And now let's see the topology. Shift F. We need to change this topology. At first, I go to deformation and polish by features, I guess. Yeah. Just want to make these uneven edges more even, like this. It's not a necessary step. We can just jump to Zremesher right away. Sometimes it can be helpful when Zremesher cannot cope with some subtools. Okay, now let's press the button keep groups. Keep groups, because we need this purple polygroup and this yellow polygroup. We need them separately. So, do we have a crease here? Yeah, we do have a crease. Let's keep creases too. And let's reduce it. We have right now, here we can see active points like 11,000. So let's decrease it like to 2 almost. Decrease it even more. By the way, when I get such a situation like this, it goes a bit like inside. Mm-hmm. I usually just go to brushes and Z modeler. Now you need to have your cursor of the mouse on this edge. Like you see, it's white right now, and you press space bar, delete, edge loop complete. Press. And now it's even. And now I can press space bar again and insert, I guess. Yeah. And now I can insert this loop again, and now it's very straight. That's practically it. We can add subdivisions. For example, we can press D and add dynamic subdivisions. We press, let's press always yes. And we can go to creases, and let's one crease, for example, one crease. And here we can go to dynamic subdivision and increase the subdivisions so it will look more smooth. Maybe we can even add one more crease level, like to 2. To make more windings, you just need to mask this in different directions again, and then press extract again, and then repeat all over again. And this is my pipeline of doing everything in ZBrush, actually, especially closes. You can make pans like this, but you can see that here I have pretty complicated pans actually, because this part goes underneath this part. Of course, I struggled. I struggled to make them. And let me show you once again, very quickly. Okay, insert. One more cylinder, Control Shift D, you duplicate your model, and let's merge it into one subtool. Merge down, go to Dynamesh. Now they are together. Let's increase the resolution and let's draw the mask again. Let's take a clay build-up brush, and what I did, I just drew like this directly on her body, because we have this piece of her pants. So I'm just trying to have a nice base mesh. Then let's draw our pants like this. By the way, to clear the mask, you just press Control Alt, and now you are cleaning everything. And the other side, let's take mask pen, because when you take lasso, you draw immediately like
through the
simultaneously on this side and on the other side, yeah, through the model.
Guys, by the way, right now we're working as texture artists, so we haven't used ZBrush for a while actually. But I remember workflow itself in ZBrush is pretty simple.
Now, extract, accept. Now we have something that reminds us of pens. We need to Zremesh it. Where's the Zremesher?
And can I ask for the viewer, why do you want to Zremesh it? Because I understand, but can you explain it, please?
Actually, right now, we don't need such a tensed topology because it will be very hard for me to manipulate this mesh. When we have such a topology, you can see that all of my brush strokes, they are like too detailed, and I need to be able to manipulate my mesh with more like big masses, you know? So let me just show you in a mesh. The mesh behaves like this when I'm trying to move it up, for example. And when I press Zremesher, keep groups, Zremesh, now we have a very low poly model, and it's a lot more easier to work with such a model when you are working on the silhouette. Don't mind this collapse here, please. I'm trying to show you everything very quickly. And now it's a lot more easier to work with the silhouette of the model. When you want to work on the small details, you just then add subdivision levels where let me show you. You just press Ctrl D, and here you can see right away that you added subdivision levels. Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D a lot of times, and now you can work more precisely. Yeah, but to work on the big masses on the silhouette, you need to have a really low poly model, and you do it through Zremesher. So, and I just masked this part, and I tried to move it underneath somehow inside of that part. And this is the main idea of how I was doing these pens. I was just masking the parts out that I don't need to move, and I moved these parts inside. And to invert the mask, you press Control and click here on the free space, and now I move this part, and that's all. Just masking, moving, masking, moving. You can also, when you have this part masked out, you can press Control W, and now you have another polygroup here, and you can choose brush that's called Move Topology. Move Topology, and you can just move only this part. That was the idea of how I did those pens. The jacket, the same idea, just masking, extract, and moving everything with Move brush. The same thing is with her hood. Took this sphere, maybe sculpted it a bit to give it a shape of a hood, then a mask, then again extract, and now we have a hood. And the hair is pretty simple. It's just a brush. You can just download any free brush for the hair like this. For example, I have a brush like this that gives you a separate subtool. You can move it, you can somehow make it longer. You can again take the Move brush, go to the texture, I guess.
I wanted to ask, do you use any of the orb brushes for sculpting cloth? Yeah, you see you have folds on the shoulders.
Let me find it here. Orb brushes. Yeah. Like I think that's the most popular set of brushes. Folds. I use this Orb Crack, this brush. It works pretty fine, but you can also play with settings of this brush. Let me just try to remember it. Lazy step, lazy radius. You can also choose lazy radius. It will help you to draw like more smooth lines. If you need to make something round, like waves, I don't know, it will help you with this smoothness. Here you have it, yeah, and it's free. I want this, and you just download it. And for the folds, actually, yeah, you can type something like stylized folds, references for sculptors, 3D, something like this. But I just had the references of Vi herself, and I was looking folds at her jacket. Oh, that's me, guys! To find nice references. But you got this, I was just looking at her folds, and here we can see them nicely. And again, I was just copying everything what I see. That was a brush. I think that's actually fur for animals, but I used it as her hair. That was just a solid mesh. Okay, so now let's go to the texture. Again, guys, if you think that I have some special pipeline where everything is like sorted out, no, I have many different layers, and I just want to tell you that you don't have to be afraid when you just start texturing your model and you think, I don't know some rules, I don't know anything, right? I'm scared to texture. All you can do right now is just to take references. Again, guys, copying is everything in 3D. Copying is everything, and it will save you, because when I was texturing Vi, of course, I did not know anything. I did not know any rules, which color goes best with another color, all of these color schemes, these color wheels, you know what I'm talking about? I did not know about it at all. I still cannot say that I'm an expert in all of these schemes. Let's start from face. That's the most interesting part, I think. Makeup. Wow, I even have a folder here. You see here, I tried to sort something out a bit. Let's just hide this and what it does. But what I always did when I started texturing. Anyway, I want to give you like an advice of how to start texturing with the hand-painted pipeline, and even it can be useful for PBR pipeline too. When you just fill your model with the base color like we have right now, let's even go to base color, and you can see we don't have any other colors here. We don't have here shadows, and we don't have here highlights. Create new, add fill layer. Let me just remember, add black mask, add generator, and you type here light, generator light. Oh, sorry, I forgot to make her skin color darker, because right now I want to make shadows. Go back to generator, and now you just need to place these shadows with this wheel. You need to place them where they are supposed to be, underneath her lips, underneath her nose. Play with settings. You can see we can get a different result. Maybe that was not what I did when texturing Vi, but later, especially when I started to work in the industry, that was always my first step of how I texture my models. Click on this layer, Control D, we duplicate it, and let's change color to something more white and add highlights. Using this wheel, we place them just until we like the result. You can color pick. Let me just remember how to pick it, because I'm not working in Substance Painter actually, guys, anymore. I'm working in 3D code now, so I don't remember how to pick it. But
yeah, do you remember I was telling you about 3D code?
I do remember. My studio asked me to work in 3D code actually, and I was like, oh my god, now I need to learn new program again. Yeah. And now I forgot Substance Painter. Okay, here's the color picker. I cannot find it on my keyboard, unfortunately. I really liked to draw with fill layers, so I can always change the color. So all of the different colors, that's why I have so many layers, because I have each color on a different layer.
It's very interesting to see how it looks. Can we go over all of these layers?
I was just looking at Vi, at her face, at her texture, and I was repeating all of the steps, all of the brush strokes that I saw on the references. So I just took her ear right here, and this is my ear, and I was drawing, I see this brush stroke, and I repeated on my model. She has a stroke here, and I draw this exact stroke on this exact place on my model. Also, what is important, I did not draw in the base color mode. No, I draw in material. Maybe because I did not have that much experience at that time. That's the first thing. The second thing is that...
Yeah, even though you put very nice result.
Why I didn't draw in base color mode? Because I wanted to have my model, like I knew that on my renders, I will not just render the base color, I will render it as it is, like as a 3D model with all of the shadows and highlights. I wanted to reflect everything, to reflect the environment. Pretty horrible in base color, but nobody sees it, right? Because anyway, I rendered it in material mode.
Yeah.
So here, all of the layers, you can see just a small brush stroke on her nose, and even this one is on the separate layer. Some shadows here, they are also on the separate layer. Something on her neck, and even more of her neck.
If we talk about this Arcane style, they have very specific brush strokes in certain places. And to learn it, it's very important just to copy it,
The brush that I used while texturing, knife painting, here and here, there are two brushes that I used. I don't even remember if I used the standard brushes. I think I used the standard brush just to be able to have some very, very soft shadows. But when I needed to draw all of these visible brush strokes, I used always this. I could just draw a stroke like this, and then I could take basic soft brush. Actually, I need an eraser, basic soft brush. And now I can just very, very smoothly erase my brushes so they have very nice transition into other layers. And that's how I textured everything, this jacket.
How did you start your journey in 3D? Did you start as a 3D artist or right away with characters? Or only with textures?
Actually, I bought a course, an online course, where I learned how to make 3D stylized characters. And if you think that I knew something about 3D before buying that course, no, I knew nothing. Because actually that was my mom who bought me that course, and she was like, you have a friend and she's a 3D artist. Go and ask her what 3D is, how she started it, and where did she learn it, and so on. And that friend of mine, she gave me the link to online course, and she said, I learned here, I started here, I took this 3D online course. I looked, it was written there, this course starts in 1 week. And my mom was like, we are buying it. And I was like, no, please. What do you mean in 1 week? I have no idea what 3D is. How? I haven't even watched a single tutorial on YouTube. I don't even have a single 3D program on my computer. What are you talking about? It starts in 1 week. I cannot go so fast. No. But my mom said, I don't want to hear anything. And she bought it for me. And that course was, as I already mentioned, with stylized characters, how to sculpt a stylized character in ZBrush only. We did not learn any other software there, only ZBrush. So it was not like a game ready model, it was just a sculpt in ZBrush. So during that 3D course, I made this model. This was my very first one. Model that I ever made in 3D, this Nick Wilde from Zootopia. This was my second model in 3D, and it was like a diploma, and this was like an examination, you know what I mean? We had we needed to make one more model. Now with all of that knowledge that we gained during this course, now all by ourselves. So yeah, I can say that I started with characters right away.
Guys, I want to take this chance to tell you that unlike other schools, in our school we only invite professional artists. And together with Adrian, professional character artist at Flix Interactive, here you can see this game development studio. We created this game-ready character from complete scratch. From sculpting to texturing, so we didn't cover one specific pipeline. No, it will actually teach you the entire profession, even with animations, presentation and posting in your portfolio. Basically the highest quality we try to achieve, and this is our final result. The course is flexible and you can start learning anytime. I will leave the link in the description.
Usually artists, they say that you need to start from props and you have a long way to go till you get to characters. I think it depends. It depends very much, because I did not start from props at all. I don't know. I cannot even say that I had some skills. I don't know. It just turned out like this. I was not studying anything before 3D. I was not studying in some art university. I learned English in the university and I'm the translator from English actually. I have never ever learned anything in art. I'm being serious right now. I have never learned anything in art. So unfortunately, I cannot give you really useful advices here concerning art. I was just drawing since my childhood. I was copying. I was copying beautiful pictures. Oh, I liked this princess. I want to draw it. I want to copy it. And that's all. That's what I did. All my life I was drawing with just pencils, with paints and brushes on canvas. Yes, and I did not study anything.
But you did have some drawing, painting experience itself. So if we scroll below to your works, to very first work, you painted something, I suppose, or what?
You mean this?
Yeah, this one, of course, it's not professional, but at least you get a bit of the sense of copying and the volume.
Yes, that was when my mom bought me a graphics tablet, actually. Okay, let's go back. At the very beginning. She was like, you like to draw. I see that you are drawing very much. So you have a friend, she has a graphics tablet. Go to her and ask her to try her graphics tablet and tell me if you like it. I say, why? I don't need it. That's a very expensive toy. I draw 2 times in a year. I don't need it. But my mom was very hard to convince in it that I don't need it. So I just tried this graphics tablet of my friends and I came to my mom and said, yeah, this is a nice thing, but I don't need it. Please don't buy me this. And she bought it. That's why I have some 2D paintings that you see right now. I was just drawing. It was not business. It was not meant for work. It was just for me to spend my time just to draw for myself. And then after my mom saw all of these portraits that I draw, then she said, you have a friend in 3D, go and ask her. And then that link to that 3D course, and then and everything went in that direction. And now I'm working in the 3D industry, and actually I'm very grateful to my mom that she saw that potential in me.
That's pretty amazing. I have one question. Have your mom found a job in 3D for you or not?
No. That was all by myself. I was looking for a job by myself, but my mom, she made a really great impact on my future. That's true.
Okay, I have a question. Do you use any generators in Substance?
I do use them at all. The only generator that I use, I have already showed you this generator. That's the generator light.
Yeah.
To have some basic shadows and highlights, and that's the only generator that I use while texturing.
Did you made any roughness metallic map for this one?
Let me see. Metallic roughness. Okay, so I did not use roughness at all. But I used metalness. Why did I use metalness? You will never believe it, but just when I was looking at my model in Mama Set and I was rendering it, even if I drew something with the most black color that I could possibly choose in Substance Painter, it still looked pretty gray to me. It was not black enough. Or for example, I don't know, if I wanted to take some crimson purplish color, I wanted it to be very, very red, very saturated. But when I looked at it on my render, I just saw blurry grayish color. It was not red enough, or it was not yellow enough. I don't know. It has a very big lack of contrast. So when I used metalness, the blacks are really started to look like black. I was not using it for really like metallic things. No, I was just using metalness to be able to get a more deep color of red, of green, the black itself, and that's all. Just for my colors not to be grayish, As you can see, the lashes that I draw with black. Anyway, that black was not black enough for me. So this layer, it has color and it also has metalness, and we also have a fill layer here. Let me just see. This is the layer with transparency, because actually I sculpted these lashes, like this, without this space, because I decided not to suffer too much with sculpting it. So I just thought, I will just use the opacity. So I created fill layer, and you also need to be able to use opacity. You need to change shaders. Here you press on this circle and press here PBR Metal Roughness, Alpha Blending. I have here Metal Roughness with Alpha Blending, because by default you have some other shader in Substance Painter. I don't remember which one. Some of these ones, I don't remember which one. But if you want to use opacity on your mesh, you need to choose this shader with alpha blending. Right, you need to go to texture settings. You will not have here opacity like I have here right now. You will need to press plus, and here, if I remember it right, here there will be opacity, and you need to add opacity here. Or maybe you will have opacity here right away. Really, sorry guys, I cannot tell you for sure, because it was a very long time when I did that. Anyway, you either will have it here right away. If not, you go here to plus and you just add opacity here. So I just erased everything, and here I have another layer. And we were talking actually about metalness, and I got very distracted by this opacity. But I think that's actually good that I noticed it and had a chance to explain this to you.
Yep.
And speaking about metalness, on the render in Mama Set, when I was looking at my model, some of the parts were like pretty blurry. I saw that when I add metalness to some certain parts, they get more contrast with metalness. Even the iris and on the brows, I wanted to make certain brush strokes on the brows more dark. I wanted to add more contrast and more volume to these parts. As you can see, I also use here opacity, because the actual mesh looks like this. Without metalness, it looks like this. And the more metalness I have, the darker it gets. Especially it makes a big difference on the render. I even remember some person asked me the same question, like, why do all of my colors look so blurry, so grayish in Mama Set on the render? Why it lacks contrast so much? And I said, my friend, Just try to add metalness. I know that it's not right. And guys, please, that's not a pipeline for your work. Yeah. Never texture anything with this advice of mine. Just add metalness to your layer and you will have more contrast on your model. Never do this during your actual work in the studio. In the studio, you need to texture everything logically, and you need to have metalness only on really metal things. If you will have metalness on something that's not metallic at all, your art lead may tell you that what is wrong with your model and with the logic of your texture. So please don't add just metalness anywhere you want, like in her nostrils. I don't know. That's not logically correct. Even when I saw on the render of my actual work in the studio, I saw that, damn, the colors really look grayish. They don't, I would like to have them more contrast. But I did not add that contrast. I just showed my work as it is with this grayish color to my art lead. And he was like, that's amazing. We are taking this. And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? Okay, whatever you want, whatever you like. When I'm working on my personal projects, thanks God, I have the opportunity to do everything what I think is right and what I think looks better on renders. Maybe it's more correct for the model to be a bit grayish in certain environment because we are making game-ready models right now, right? And in the actual game, there will be a lot of different lightings, a lot of different environments. It may be, I don't know, the light may be even blue when it is night in the game. It may be, I don't know, yellow during the daytime. That's why we need to leave these textures grayish, a bit grayish as it is, because anyway it will look very, very differently in all of the different environments in the game. But in my personal projects, I have only one render, I have only one picture. My textures will not cooperate with any environment, so I don't care how it will look like in the nighttime in the game, in the daytime, in some, I don't know, at the beach, or in some desert, or I know in the jungle. There are different lightings, you know what I mean? I have only one scene. I want to get a picture of my render and I need to look it perfectly just in this exact lighting. It was not supposed to be used. But yes, you can always use this trick for your personal projects.
I'm very curious, how did you set up the lighting right here?
You want the actual scene in Mama set?
Yeah, if you have one.
Actually, all of my light schemes are very, very simple. I always start with some general light and it's the sky. You can see here that I go to presets and I actually use just two maps. These are maps, right? I don't really remember how I should call all of these pictures. I think these are the PBR maps, and I usually just use evening clouds or Ennis or whatever that is house. I just make it not so bright, not so dark, just so I can add more light bulbs in the future. So I don't need it to be too light because I also need to add more light bulbs to make my light look like it has more volume. To add some rim lights, you can see I added some orange lights to match the background more, maybe to change the colors of my textures even a bit more. Then I added some rim light to separate my model. It even has some blue color in it. in here for this angle, for this angle, for this angle. I could use different rim lights. I did different placement of those rim lights because I did not use all of these rim lights at once. Maybe one of them or two maximum, as all of the other rim lights, they were meant for other angles. You can see I made it even more light, the whole model, by using one more. I think that I even had some orange rim lights. Oh yeah, here. Orange from this side, blue from that side. So basically I was just trying to kill all of the harsh shadows, and I was trying to separate my model with some rim lights. That's basically all you need to do. You just need to at first fill your model with light so it's not black, and then start like sculpting with the lights. You know what I mean? To add more volume to your model. Maybe from one side, place the light bulb from one side, maybe try another side, try to make your 3D model look like a 3D model with volume, try to trace your model with these rim lights. Actually, I thought that my Vi will be without this glove because it almost killed me, this glove. I was suffering so much that I wanted to give up. Hard surface is really not my thing, but I think in the end, the result looks okay. So, how I do hard surface? I sculpt hard surface. Yes, I do. Let me show you, let it be this complicated thing right here. Not even clay build-up, I think trim dynamic brush. I want to have a very nice and even surface. You can see I just cut my mesh with trim dynamic.
By the way, I have a very nice tip for this. Can you use gizmo? Just try using your gizmo if you enable it. And right now you can rotate the gizmo, of course, yeah? You can use control, you hold control and you move it inwards.
Yeah, I do know it, but I always I like to use my hands. You know what I mean? I like to just use brush and just do everything with a brush because it's very hard for me to memorize all of these tricks. It's like, it's like with generators in Substance Painter. Maybe there are some generators that could help me. I always like to go with the easiest way possible, and it's just a simple brush and my hands, and that's all. No generators, no tricks, no nothing. Maybe I'm lazy to learn something new. I don't know. But I feel in control of everything when I just use simple brush and my hands, and that's all. Now it has such a hood, and we also make this hood here. We mask it out, we invert the mask, rotate it with gizmo, and we re-dynamesh it again. Now we can use clay build-up, and don't forget to go to brush. We already have back face masking. Okay. Resolution, more, and now I just draw everything what I see. I draw these borders, is the highest one, then we have another step, it should be lower. Again, I'm showing everything right now very, very roughly and very sketchy. I'm not trying to make something beautiful. Let's take trim dynamic and make a nice wall, if I can call it a wall. Of course, it has to go all the way here. You need to be more precise with these things, and it takes a lot of time, of course. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we need to have a nice base, because later I jump into Maya with this base and I start to make a retopology of it. Let's take clay build up again.
And after topology, you need to load it back in ZBrush.
After retopology, after Maya, I have a nice clean mesh. It looks really low poly. You can see how it looks like. That's the topology of this mesh. I tried to make it as low poly as I could. I tried to use like very, very big polygons so I can have a very nice smooth surface, like a hard surface. It's all I have this sculpted mesh, and then to be able to put it into Maya, you need to optimize it because Maya doesn't like huge amount of polygons. You need to go decimation master here, pre-process current. What did I do? I just pre-processed this mesh, right? No, I need to pre-process our mesh that we just did. Once again, decimation master, pre-process current. And now we have such a, it's pretty tensed, everything is so tensed, and this is the Dynamesh topology. We need to reduce the number of polygons. Let's put 2 here. Oops. Yeah. And decimate current, how our topology looks like now. Let me go back. This is before, this is after, before and after. And you can see here the amount of polygons. Now we have 3,000. And we did not lose all of our shapes. And this is very important. We just need to have these shapes to be able to make the retopology in Maya. So after we optimize our model using this decimation master, now we can export our model using this FBX export import. And now let's go to Maya file. Let me remember how I did my retopology, because it was, of course, it has been a long time since I opened up Maya the last time. You need to press this magnet here and go to modeling toolkit here and choose quad draw. And now it's drawing. Yeah, now it's drawing. That's very nice. So how you should make retopology in Maya, you just click with your mouse and you draw a polygon like this. Now you hold shift, and when your cursor of the mouse is in the middle of these 4 dots, it creates a square, and you just click with your mouse once, and now you have a polygon. You can drag these dots. Now for the second polygon, you press tab on your keyboard, and you see now we have extrude, and we extrude with our mouse left, or we can also click 2 dots, press shift and click again. So I always tried to draw the biggest polygons I could possibly draw without losing my shape, because the bigger polygons are, the flatter and the smoother your mesh will look like, because we have hard surface, right? And everything has to be very, very, strictly hard and strictly even, you know what I mean? And yep. In such places, of course, I sculpted it very poorly here. For example, on this wall, if I can call it a wall, let me jump into ZBrush. I need to make a very nice retopology of this wall. Maybe it was even a separate mesh, as you can see. For me to feel more comfortable while making retopology of this mesh, it seems like I did not sculpt this line, this element, like I did here together on this mesh. Maybe I sculpted it separately and I retopologized it separately, and then I just put it after retopology in this place, maybe. And export it and go back to ZBrush tool. No, not subtool. Here. Import. If you cannot find your mesh, what is this? Just press F on your keyboard and you'll find it right away. After I did my retopology in Maya, all I do is just add in subdivision levels and creases, and that's all. Maybe I can move something with the move brush on the lowest subdivision level like this, but that's all I can do.
Yeah.
And maybe I can add some, I don't know, some damages then in ZBrush using high subdivision levels. But I think that I did not damage it at all. Yeah, I think I just added creases and subdivision levels, and that's all.
Very nice tip, because sometimes if it's very small, you can just paint it, or you can make it in roughness, you know. You don't need to kind of sculpt on top of everything.
I know that for somebody, this pipeline may be too much, like it will take a very long time to sculpt it in ZBrush at first, and then to retopologize it in Maya, and then go back. I don't disagree. Of course, modeling everything in Maya will be a lot more faster without this ZBrush thing, but I cannot model at all. Like my brain cannot comprehend modeling at all. Where should I extrude these polygons? Where should it go? It's always easier for me to just draw with my brush at first. It's not comfortable for me to work with polygons right away. It's just my way of being comfortable while making hard surface. Yeah, I'm not saying that there are no techniques that will make your process easier. There are techniques, but you need time. You need time for learning those techniques, and time is money, you know, right? I don't have that much time. I know how to do it by my hand, and I'm pretty fine with it, and I can quickly go just boom, 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 and that's all, and I'm ready.
This is true core artist. You only need few tools, you know.
Yeah, you were right. For the glove, actually, I did everything the same. Everything was just the same as with Vi. No generators at all. I just painted it by myself. Yeah. I was looking at her glove, at her actual glove, original one, and I was copying everything, even such small brushed strokes like these dark lines. I was copying literally everything what I could see, every pixel that I could see. I was copying it. So I did not add anything from myself. I saw a highlight here. Oh, by the way, there are some glitches. I know that's my video card probably. I saw a highlight here, and I painted this small highlight on my model.
And later on, I will suggest to kind of dive deeper why you paint certain highlights, but usually after you learn the entire process and after you learn how to recreate it from the concept. And guys, yeah, keep in mind that this work is relatively old if we compare to your new ones.
Yes, this one is very old. Maybe like 3 years, I don't know.
But if we open our recent project that we did for the course, do you think that it will be some difference in it?
I don't think so. I don't think that it will have a big difference. Maybe I will have less layers. I think so. maybe I started to use this one, just a simple layer where you cannot adjust the color, where you can draw with multiple colors right away on one layer. Maybe really, I don't remember what I used there.
Did you get any feedback in the studio, or maybe you did it by yourself?
Of course, I had feedbacks both when I was not working and when I was already working in the studio. When I was not working, I tried to get feedbacks from different artists. My teacher, my 3D teacher, always gave me feedbacks, even when I was not studying in his school anymore. Still, we stayed in contact, and he helped me a lot with his feedbacks. And when I started to work in the studio, of course, I got a lot of feedbacks, especially at the very beginning. I was just listening to all of those advices. I was paying attention to everything what my art leads said. And yeah, feedbacks are the best way of how you can improve and see your mistakes.
And by the way, teaching improved my skill. When you can explain something, to a complete beginner, it will kind of improve your skill. You will understand more.
That's true. That's very much true, yeah. And by the way, never listen to such feedbacks when someone says your work is bad and that's all, full stop. Never listen to such feedbacks. Only listen to those people who can really help you and who can really say a lot, say what's wrong and how to improve it. If there's just a person, maybe that person is sad, maybe that person is offended by someone and he wants to offend you by just saying your work is bad. Don't listen to such feedbacks, for real. Don't take it into consideration at all. Only listen to artists who really want to help you with your feedback.
So what about presentation? You simply use Photoshop, of course. You render everything on PNG and you use Photoshop to set it up.
Yes, I render it in PNG and in Photoshop. I just combine everything, like different angles together to make such renders. Just combine all of the angles together and that's all. I don't really work on light in Photoshop. Like I don't change anything. All I do in Photoshop is just combining all of the renders together like this and that's all. Because I know some people can export from ZBrush. I know you can export from ZBrush like ambient occlusion separately, some shadows also separately, highlights separately, and then you play with all of these layers in Photoshop with different blending modes in Photoshop. I don't do it. I take the render that I got from Marmoset and I'm pretty fine with that. I do everything in Marmoset, by the way.
And can I ask, back then, how long did it take to make this one in your free time?
Up to 3 months.
Yeah, that's
maybe less. Maybe 2.5. Or maybe even 2, but not less than 2, that's for sure.
And you've been working every day or in your free time? Maybe 1 hour a day?
Every day, almost, because I was not working at that time. I was jobless, so I sacrificed all my time for these projects. But I was 18 and I was sculpting everything like very, very precisely, very carefully. And I spent a lot of time on each detail I could possibly see, and that's why it took so much time. Really tried to make it as perfect as I could. So I just took my time. I was not in a hurry. A lot of time, even for such a small thing like this on her shoulder, for example, I could spend maybe the whole day on this bag. I don't know, because I wanted every pixel, every dot, every polygon of it to be perfect. I was not in a hurry.
Yeah, that's
of course nice. Maybe if I had to make it very, very quick, maybe I could spend, a month. My goal was to get a very nice result and to get a job with these works. That's why I spent so much time. Of course, you don't need that much time, I think.
Very nice. We have some nice works here, guys. I also see that each frame that you have is horizontal.
Yeah. I also like to use horizontal frames. I use these vertical ones only in the very end of my works. I don't know. Someone says, like my teacher once said that if he were in my shoes, he would post these big renders in the very first place, like up here. But to my mind, I don't know, I just feel like I want to move away from the screen when I see such big screenshots, and it distracts me from comprehending the whole model right away. So for those who want to take a closer look at my model, I usually just put close-ups in the very, very end of my post.
So you mentioned that you did these projects to find a job, and was it helpful? Did you get many freelance or job opportunities after posting this?
Of course it was. Listen, I had so many job opportunities and studios were texting me first after all of these projects of mine. And actually, I don't like to boast with it, okay? I never boast with my job, but thankfully, I'm so thankful to God that I was never in real search of job, because studios were always contacting me, and I'm so thankful for it. So yeah, it helped me a lot. These projects of mine really caught the attention of people and studios. Actually, the first one was Jinx and Silco, and this one, the weapons of Jinx, because I was making them simultaneously at one time. That was one big project. Yes, I made 3 different posts, but that was one big project that took 6 months for me to finish. I was making everything together.
I think the lesson from this is that you can literally use simple tools and get a very good art. Also, thank you a lot for sharing this information. I think that will be the end of this video.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you as well, and I think we will see you soon. On the other one, we will record something interesting. Alright guys, that will be it. Hope you like it. Let me know what video do we need to record next. And if you want to learn this whole process by Darina step by step, you can check our full 3-year program. All of the links I will put in description.